I mean, we're back.
We are back. That was a nice little break we
Nice
took.
little break, right? But I mean, like, really, I was gonna say not too much was going on,
When
and
you've got
really
a
kind
pop culture podcast and there's that little after the Olympics ended and the shows didn't start yet, it was just like, what are
right.
we
And
at?
next week it'll be like everything. I
Yeah.
have heard from a couple of the movie guys that the Penguin is pretty pretty friggin' good.
I believe it. I feel like because of Game of Thrones, House of the Dragon, sorry, and then I guess other shows, I feel like Penguin has flown under the radar
Yeah.
and I personally can't wait for it, but I feel like because I think everyone when we saw the Batman, everyone collectively was like, yeah, that was pretty good. Like there were some people that hated it because they hate everything, but I
Sure.
thought overall people thought it was a pretty good movie, some very good. So you would think that the same people are making a show, which shows always give more depth, everyone would be on board, and it's just like no one's talking about it.
It is it's really strange.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, like it's no, I think I've seen more news come across about the X-97 director and his OnlyFans and the
Where the truth is
cancellation.
hidden behind the sexual paywall.
Yes, and like the put like you're very upset about the delay of the new Spider-Man,
Yes.
the trilogy, this Into the Spider-Verse. Like the and the cancellation of the Acolyte, like those things have been like looming large, but you would think like, okay, like everybody be like, yeah, like the Penguin.
Well,
It's
even HBO didn't promote it as well because I mean, each week you had millions of people tuned in to watch House of the Dragon, and every now and then they would have a trailer for one of their own shows. But I feel like the Penguin wasn't really pushed all that much. Neither was their Dune show, and it's like I would have thought that for 8 straight weeks you would have given me a trailer for one of those before the episode started.
right, yeah. But from my understanding, they say that I think a few of them have only seen like the first two episodes. They might have seen the first four. I don't know. I not 100%, but I know they've at least seen the first two and they're like, it's so good. And so I'm like, all right.
That's
I mean,
awesome.
like I was already gonna watch it, but I mean, like,
Right.
yeah, like I'm really excited because I don't know how many episodes it's supposed to be. But
I assume 6 to 8 because that seems to be the trend.
yeah, maybe at least eight. Um, I haven't heard anything about a Batman cameo going to
I
be
feel
in
like
gonna be like the last episode,
that's what I was gonna say. I
alluding
feel like
to
it's
it,
gonna
like his silhouette in the
eight.
background. Eight. Well, there you
Eight
go. So
episodes. They will be released weekly. So we have September 19th, 29th, October 6th, 13th, 20th, 27th, and then November 3rd and 10th. Wrap it up right before Thanksgiving. Well, before Thanksgiving, but
yeah, oh, yeah. But there's
and this is
so much.
after the Batman and the in between space because Falcone is dead.
Yes.
So there's a power vacuum.
Yes. And that apparently it is, I don't want to, I've heard I don't want to say it's required watching before Batman because people then like will just freak out about that saying like, I shouldn't have to be required to watch
Yeah.
anything before I see a movie. Well, okay,
Yeah.
fine, then don't. But I mean, like, but I mean, like, I, from my understanding, it's a good lead up to the next one that's coming out. And I don't even know if there's a date for that
I
one,
don't
if
know
they've
if
even
there's a
started
date,
filming.
and have they even confirmed? Because I heard people saying Mr. Freeze was going to be the villain. I've heard people say it's going to be Hush. Hope maybe this will lean into it a little bit, but
That they'll kind of like even say maybe kind of mention who the
yeah,
or kind of give you a little glimpsey
yeah,
into the
I'm excited regardless. I thought
I am
I,
too.
I thought Colin Farrell was a really good Penguin,
You wouldn't
even
have
though I
even
didn't
known it was him.
recognize him.
No,
Had no idea. Like if I did
amazing.
not see it, like him doing interviews and his name attached to it, never would have guessed.
No, 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 God, no. Like No, like no, I'm even just picturing him in my mind. Like that it's not
Yeah.
even like I pictured him in The Gentleman, and then I'm like trying to picture him in
Maybe we'll get
in
a shot of him, a scene of him wearing a plaid velour jumpsuit and
right.
a tracksuit.
No kidding. Yeah. So like yeah, no, I just you're right. I think it's for some reason they which I just find that strange.
Yeah, because if it was like if people didn't like the Batman, I could have even argued like, okay, maybe that's why. But again, unless I just missed people's opinions, I thought everyone enjoyed the Batman.
Yeah.
So I thought this, once they confirmed it, would have been just really excited. Although I am looking at the cast list and I don't see my guy,
Who's
uh, Commissioner Gordon. Why am I blanking on his name right now? He's like one of my favorite actors.
for the new one?
Yeah,
I mean like who was the Commissioner
it
Gordon?
was Jeffrey Wright,
Okay.
or he wasn't commissioner; he was a captain at the time.
Okay. So he's
But
not
I would
even
am looking at the cast list and I don't see him.
mm,
That's
oh,
why.
doesn't
That's
yeah,
why no
it's
one's
right.
talking
It's
about it.
right, yeah, because Jeffrey
It
Wright's
took
not in.
Jeffrey Wright out.
No, I am looking forward to that one. I think it's I yeah, I am looking forward to that. And like I said, I'll still catch the Aaron Hernandez story.
That one's on
And-
my list. I've been bad with shows. I re not even wanting to touch anything election related, but I restarted watching Veep because I watched it 4 or 5 years ago and thought it was good. And then out of relevance, I was like, let me go run through this again because I love Julia Louis-Dreyfus. So I've
yeah.
been watching that, and then I realized that I haven't really been keeping up with like a lot of my fall shows. So I'm very behind on Rings of Power, the final
Oh.
season of Umbrella Academy, which apparently everybody hated anyway.
How I liked I what was the last
The
there was
last season,
was
last
it season
season, not like
three?
that was
Season
season three. I think
three,
this
right.
is season four, and that's the end of it. But they got sucked into a multiverse because everyone does that now, and they met different versions of themselves, but those versions were better because this version is just they don't work well together.
Right.
So, and then they were trying to stop the end of the world, obviously, and then there was just a bunch of stuff. But then at the end of that season they like jumped through time or space and ended up in another parallel universe where their dad had like taken over the world or something, and like that's how the season ended. I enjoy the show.
I've seen the first two seasons. I haven't seen the
Okay.
third.
Oh, well,
So I
the
mean
third
I
season I just kind of
oh no,
sort
it
of
doesn't matter no, because I mean like that's I mean I'll still watch it. It's I enjoyed the first two seasons of it. I think
I thought it
it's
was
and
very different. It was a breath of fresh
yes.
air, but the characters themselves, it's again, I've mentioned this on multiple episodes spanning over different movies and TV shows, but when the characters in your show can't seem to grasp the severity of the situation around them and focus on bickering, or in the case of Bad Boys 4, which I thought, again, great movie, but Martin Lawrence in the middle of a shootout
Yeah.
trying to drink Kool-Aid, or Martin Lawrence in the middle of a shootout and an alligator attack is sitting here trying to woo-saw an alligator, like, or Army of the Dead, the Netflix zombie movie.
Yes.
Zombies are taking over the planet, very high stakes situation. The dad, Dave Bautista's like, hey, me and my elite team are going to go into this danger zone. And then his
Right.
daughter, with no combat training, is like, I'm going too. And he's like, no, that's not safe.
Right.
Why are you being like this, dad? Like, do you not like it? Just takes me out of it. So anyway,
Right.
Umbrella Academy, as much as I liked the characters in the show, like the world is crumbling quite literally before their eyes. Like you see time and space collapsing. The two brothers are on their ego trip the whole series, and the brother like, okay, here's the plan. You go over here. We're gonna do this, and the other brother's like, well, who put you in charge? And then they start bickering, and I'm sitting here watching the show. Like, do you guys literally not
Right.
see like reality collapsing in front of you, and you're choosing to bicker? Right? Like, it's just stuff like that. Like, and I
Time
felt
and
like there,
place, like read the room.
right. And so I just felt like there was no growth. Like for every season, you get to this point where these characters are not evolving and they're still taking the worst times to bicker among themselves. And I'm like, I'm supposed to care that the world is ending from my couch, but the people that are literally in the universe don't care. And like that's my pet peeve across all media, movies, TV shows, books. Like it doesn't matter if everything is falling apart, it's just
Yes.
hitting the fan, and your
Stay on
character,
point.
yeah, like let's stay on point. But your character is, and it is focused on something that is not important. Like I immediately just roll my eyes. I'm like, oh, okay.
Right. Exactly. So yeah, I mean, I'll like I said, I'll watch it because I enjoyed it because I thought it, like you said, it was a unique show. It was
Yes,
written,
very
yeah,
much so.
the characters were all unique. I thought it was good. I mean, you hate to see any show that loses its way, but I think we
Right.
have that more often than actually not. You know,
It's true.
that
It's true.
like it's I mean, again, we didn't trash the Acolyte like people who hadn't seen it did.
Yeah. We
But
didn't criticize Fire in Space.
right, like I mean, we had
We had
legit
exactly.
criticism about them, but I mean,
Yeah.
like it was a decent show in the end, and it's something that I think could have been. It was actually something that was written by people that were fans. You could tell that it was at least written by people that had an understanding of what Star Wars was.
Yeah. And they could have done better, no doubt.
Sure.
There were definitely things that we I say strongly disagree, but again, every time you start to strongly disagree in the Star Wars universe, it just falls apart. There
Right.
were multiple things that they could have and should have done better,
Sure.
but
Even
not to
Boba
beat a
Fett, I
dead
mean, like the
horse.
book of Boba Fett, it wasn't, we're not
Ugh.
talking like Breaking Bad type of good here. I mean,
Right.
like you're like, it still had its flaw. I mean, like we've gone through that, but I'm saying like it's just wild to me. Like yeah, I think that sometimes things just kind of fall apart towards the end. And now unfortunately that shouldn't have had an ending, and now we're always going to be, I mean, you could say this, the one good thing about them not going on with the show is because they introduced Palpatine. Was that no, that
No,
wasn't Plagueis, sorry.
Plagueis, yeah.
Yeah, Plagueis in that is, I mean, now you kind of have it open, like now I guess anybody else could do what they wanted with
Yeah, yeah, the
that
character
infor-
has been introduced into the cinematic universe, I guess you could say.
right,
Um,
so
or
now
in
it's
universe. So now the
open.
door is cracked open for someone else to walk through it.
Right, which, I mean, like I do it. I mean, like you should be people should be taking risks. Like they shouldn't just again, we've gone through that so many times, but
Yeah.
I mean that's so how's your fantasy football team doing?
Teams. I'm in four leagues, which is I think one too many. I
I think
decided
so.
my sanity limit is three, but the four groups I'm in, the three groups I was in originally, I've been in them for a long time, and I can't just pull myself out of them. If they dissolved on their own, I wouldn't argue for one or two of them,
Right.
but I enjoy them and I'm not going to leave them. I'll go down with the ship. Then a friend of mine asked me to be in his, and he lives close to me, and I was like, well, I can't say no. So I joined that one. I am managing four well, even though I
It's
went
been week one, I
exactly.
hope.
I was gonna say, even though we've had 1 week of football, I am
I was a
I'm one in
right.
three in those leagues. So there's
Oh,
that. Yeah, not a great start. Going against Saquon in one of the leagues week one was
that
not great. Just
I have him on both my teams.
yeah,
I
lucky.
snatched him up so fast.
Yeah.
And I have Boswell,
Like
both my teams.
I feel like you won the week with two players. Like,
Did. I really kind of did.
and then I
And a
started
Jaden Reed. I had Jaden Reed on one
yeah.
of them. So yeah.
Well, then I have Joe Burrow in one of the leagues, and
Oh,
I've had questions about him since last year because last year he wasn't great, obviously,
no.
but I thought it was a fluke. He was sitting there. I rolled the dice. Week one was not great.
No.
So now I'm getting worried about that league. But I do have Tua as the backup, which is now my starter. I've officially
Oh, okay.
flip-flopped him. Like I'm not last year with Burrow, I waited pretty much until he got injured. Because every week I'm like, no, no, like this is the week.
This is the
This
week.
is the week he turns it around. I was wrong every single week. This year, I gave him one more chance. He flopped. He's on the bench. He's like, I'm not doing that again.
You're pulling the Steelers.
Yeah, exactly. But yeah, I'm 1-3, but I've got some optimism because I still like my teams. You, on the other hand, are 2-0.
I do believe I am 2-0. Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Again, Boswell, thank you. Um, I did like his Instagram post, like a team win, and he kept that was like I was like that was amazing. Him walking on the field by himself. I was
Yeah, how
like,
did they pull that one off? Like the no Falcons staff, like, no, you're not doing that here.
I great. I thought it was fantastic. Yeah, so Boswell, Saquon. I have one of my leagues, I have okay, one of my leagues I've got quarterbacks, I've got Patrick Mahomes because I snatched him early in the fourth round because I didn't know if I was going to play him. I just really didn't want anybody else to have him.
I respect that. I respect
Sometimes
that.
I have really good players and I just refuse to play them just so because I just so they'll know that they know I have them
Exactly. And they'll
and
send
I'm
you
not
trade
playing.
offers, and it's like, I'm not even going to look at it. Like, no, no. I want you to know that I have this guy on my bench.
So I have Patrick Mahomes and Caleb Williams in one league, and I have in the other Geno Smith and Russell Wilson. Now,
Woof.
last week, there were some concerns about Geno as I started off that game at a negative 15. He did pull, he did like, I think I maybe got 18, 20 out of him that
Maybe.
week.
I've got
Maybe.
DK Metcalf, and he did nothing for him. I think he passed on the ball maybe twice. I think I walked away at one point,
Hmm.
came back to watch that game. I opened the stats. I'm like, let me see how my boy DK is doing. It was like third quarter. One reception for 12 yards. I couldn't do it. That was when the realization set in that I was not going to win that week
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I was
yeah. When
banking on him just going off, and that did not happen.
right, when you're like banking on a certain player to like kind of carry you
Yes,
at least to the finish line and
I
dump
needed
you
a
off somewhere
Saquon
close.
performance from DK Metcalf, and that didn't happen.
Yeah, no, that's so yeah, I've got like George Kittle in one league, so pretty happy with that. Yeah, it's
I feel
I
bad for
mean,
the Christian McCaffrey people that picked him first overall, waited like it couldn't have been written any better. You pick him first because he went first in like 80 to 90% of leagues.
right.
People do what they have to do on Sunday, Thursday, Friday, and Sunday, and you're like, don't even worry about it. Don't even worry about it. Monday, just waiting for Monday night, and then like 20 minutes before kickoff, the
I'm not
bomb
playing.
drops that he's not playing.
I'm not playing.
Oh, that is brutal. I don't have to
Um,
worry about that. I have him in no leagues, but for those people, like it wasn't just a Sunday game. It was literally Monday night. Like, so at that point, it was too late to sub in anybody. Obviously, you're not gonna like, I mean, you have to, because at that point, the only option you have to hope for is that
yeah,
your person on the bench is a person that was on the Jets
yeah,
because everyone else had played at that point,
right.
and you weren't gonna drop him to pick up his backup because you're not dropping CMC week one.
No, and I was even kind of surprised that Kittle didn't get more
Yeah, you would think
because I got 8 points out of him. And I'm like, bro, he's your like, but they
that's
went
your
to
anchor. If CMC's not playing, that is your anchor.
like you've got Debo. They're in probably pretty ticked at Ayuk at this point, I think,
Yeah,
being
yeah.
but I mean you have Debo, you got Kittle and I mean, no shade towards the kid who ended up, you know,
No, he had a great game, but in my mind, if you haven't game planned for him all week, like whether he found out 20 minutes before, whether he found out Friday, either one of those was not enough time to game plan him into the 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 game plan.
no.
So you would have thought if I'm in my mind, if the, potentially the best player on the team and one of the best players in the league goes down, I and everyone else that had George Kittle would be like, "Oh, cool, we're feasting tonight."
Is exactly how I thought. Like this is an like when I had coming into the last because that was my last game and I was like like I was already winning in that
Yeah.
league, but I thought this I'm gonna blow this person out of the friggin'
Yeah.
water. And then I was like, okay, who is this kid? I should go see if he's even still available. Like
Right.
I don't know how
I'm very curious how long it's out because
right.
yeah,
But I mean I think isn't Christian back this week? He's back this week, isn't he?
supposedly you never know now, but
Well, I've got Philadelphia defense this week.
I had the chance to pick them up in each league, and I didn't get them because last year we quite literally forgot how to tackle, and I don't mean that figuratively. I
Oh
truly
no, they
forgot
only
how to
got four,
tackle last
they only
year.
got 4 points last week. I'm well aware.
Yeah, so I mean, I think as a Eagles fan, I can say that our defense looked better than last
Mhm.
year, but that wasn't hard to do
Right.
because the first half of the season was but from week 8 or 9, because even though we were won weeks 8, 9, and 10, we were still giving up, 30 points. But from week 8 through the rest of the season, like it was so bad. And we
Yeah.
brought in some new guys. We brought in a new defensive coordinator. So people are like, "Oh, you guys reloaded. Are you gonna pick them up?" I was like, "Absolutely not. I don't trust them yet." So I let whoever wanted to pick them up. I wasn't even tripping. I was like, "Y'all can have the Eagles defense."
But how bad does it prove that I'm not saying that Saquon was carrying the Giants, but
I hope you're happy with your $250 million man or however much you paid Daniel Jones because,
I think it was 150 million. I want to say it was 150 million,
yeah,
but
he has thrown, he's, yeah, y'all got it. I hope you're happy. As a division rival, I love it, but I can't wrap my brain around that one.
like that that's incredible. Like that's
Yeah,
the I do not pity any New York football fan this season because
no,
I don't think I mean the Jets didn't look bad and Aaron Rodgers didn't look I mean, but
I think the Jets are frauds, and I feel like a lot of people feel that way, but they do have good pieces. But I see them with 8 wins, maybe 9 if they steal one.
which
So
is a
like,
shame because I really do like Salah. I do really like
yeah,
the coach. I really do like the coach. But I mean,
yeah, they're looking because you look at because what they did was they looked at last year where they struggled, and you have Brees Hall, you've got Sauce Gardner, you've got whoever
Garrett
else,
Wilson.
Garrett Wilson. I was like, wow, there's one more guy. You've
Yeah.
got a lot of talent, and last year I felt like you could see how that wasn't good enough, but they kept saying, well, no, 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 we have once we get Aaron Rodgers back, and I
Right.
was just sitting back like, are you sure?
Oh, he's 40.
Are you sure? Like, we're not getting an Adrian Peterson coming back from an ACL tear and rushing for like 2,000 yards. Like, Aaron
No.
Rodgers isn't doing that. And they just kept insisting and insisting. And then, yeah, he didn't look bad. He made it more than 4 plays than he did last year. Like, he finished the game. He threw a touchdown pass. His arm looked
He didn't
strong.
finish the game. He didn't finish the game. They put the backup in the fourth
Yes, you're
quarter.
right.
So he no, I mean, I know he wasn't hurt, but technically he didn't
He
even
didn't
finish the
finish the
game.
game. That is true. But yeah,
So I was a little surprised at that too, because I was
me
like,
too. And
really?
I'm
I was like,
surprised he didn't make a big scene about it, like in the post-game press conference, because he, as much as he hates a drama, he loves attention. So I thought for sure, because
and I believe
they,
they scored. They scored with that. I mean, I thought they didn't they
Mhm.
scored. Yeah, and so uh, I was a little surprised that like I was like, wow,
Yeah.
okay, but I mean, like I thought you're the guy. I thought you're gonna be in there for, and I thought, are we saving you now? Like at the end of games, like if it's not
Yeah, it's a weird strategy, and it could
because
lead
it
very
wasn't a
much.
blowout.
No, that's the thing. Yeah, you weren't getting crushed. Like
No,
I don't get it, but he's 40. I see them with 8 wins and not even like all bad wins. Like I could see them beating good teams. Like I don't know if they're going to play the Chiefs, but let's say they play the Chiefs. I could see them beating the Chiefs. Like I think that they could win good games,
Sure.
but I don't see them stacking a bunch of wins. I see you getting 8 wins, maybe making the playoffs as a wild card, or unless the division falls apart.
Right.
And then if you make the playoffs, I don't think you're getting past the first round. And if you don't make the playoffs, it doesn't matter anyway. Like
Mm,
I don't get the
yeah.
hype train. At least with the Giants, you know that they're garbage. The Jets, there's a lot of delusional fans out there.
And in Carolina, the Panther, like that. Did you see the memes like, what did Germany do to deserve this game? Because
Yes.
and somebody goes, you know exactly what they did.
I was dying. I was also looking at their schedule and I'm trying to see flights to Carolina because I mean there's an Eagles game against Cincinnati in Cincinnati. And that's 5.5 hours from my driveway, but it's
Right.
end of October. It's a bad time for me. But Panthers games, tickets are like $8, $5. If I can find a
Mhm.
cheap flight to Carolina, I'll show up just to like I just enjoy football. I don't care who
Right.
they're playing. If you get me a $10 ticket with, $5 in fees, so a $15, $20 ticket, we'll call it 20. I'll fly out to Carolina and watch a game. I don't care.
I
Like the
mean,
home opener, they said tickets were between $5 and $8 for the home opener.
are you serious?
Yeah, like if I can find a flight, because it's too far to drive, if I can find a flight, I'll be in Carolina.
Are I really?
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah. Like if it was drivable, I'd be
I
up
mean,
there.
it
Like I kind of,
is.
oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like
Midwest, that's the Midwest saying. It's only a 13-hour drive.
I was gonna say. I was literally gonna say. I think it's only a 12 to 14 hour drive.
Uh,
But I mean,
yeah. I don't even know who they play, but like, I don't care. Like you just pick a date, and if it's not like freezing
okay,
cold or just dumping rain, like I'll go. I'll pull up to a Panthers game.
that's incredible. I did not know that. I can't like I'm I'm stunned. Yeah, like
Yeah.
there's a Bengals Panthers game. Yeah. Yeah, like I guess you could sit in the upper for 45 dollars.
Really? Okay, so I don't know what site they were looking at, but they were saying like these tickets are so cheap to the home opener that
I wonder if people were like just selling them on the street or something. Because I mean, like you
uh,
did have the upper, but I mean, like even then you can get. I mean, and I know I say this, you can get 50-yard line tickets for $310 a piece. Which again, you're like, oh, okay, well, wait a minute. But we're talking about 50-yard line, and we're talking about probably row six. So I mean, yeah, it's 300 bucks,
okay, I'm looking
300 bucks
at
for a ticket.
StubHub right now, and I'm seeing $58 tickets, $15 tickets,
Really?
$17 tickets, $18 tickets. And this is
Shut
on
up.
StubHub,
That's
which I normally hate StubHub.
insane.
Yeah.
I
For an NFL game, like at some point, the commissioner is going to make a phone call and be like, look, man, the whole league is doing this.
and you're
Sales, viewers, attendance, everything is up. And then there's
right.
just like one thing just skyrocketing down, and it's you.
That's
And you got the first pick. Was he the first pick?
no, Caleb Williams was the first pick.
No, not this year. Their quarterback, their super skinny quarterback that looks like he shouldn't be playing quarterback.
Who is their quarterback?
Bryce,
Oh, Bryce Young?
Bryce
No.
Young, thank you.
Oh, the Alabama quarterback?
Yeah, that's the Panthers quarterback. So it's not like you haven't had good draft picks. Like you had the first pick in the draft. You picked your QB and your team, and I get like he didn't look great because the offensive line didn't look great and the receivers didn't look great. So you've had nothing but bad luck for 2 years. But like you guys, like
And they're sending this game over to Germany this year.
they are.
Wow.
$15 for two tickets seated together.
That's crazy. That's on par with a Cardinals ticket right now.
Yeah. 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 I'm torn. For those of you that don't know, haven't paid attention, the Cardinals are garbage and fans are not showing up to games, which is unprecedented in, the last 20, 30 years. You will always go to games and
Yes,
don't love the idea. You respect the people that
I
don't want
do.
to show up,
I
but
do.
you don't like the idea because in your logic makes sense. Less money coming through the doors is not necessarily going to incentivize them to spend more money. Whereas for
Well, they've
me,
already said they use that. I mean, he uses that in interviews right now. That
yeah,
he pretty much says that um all the time right now that like, well, with Bally's failing and and
yeah.
attendance down, like we won't have the money for next year.
And it's a logical argument. Well, while me, on the other hand, I'm kind of like, it's the only way that people can make their voices heard, but I also realize it can be counterproductive. But like if you're not spending money when we are coming through the doors,
Right.
then your excuses of, well, if you don't do this, we're not going to spend money. It's like,
Right.
you can't say if we raise the minimum wage, prices will go up and prices are already going up. Like
Which
that's my argument.
and the thing is like I don't even really you can threaten all you want to not spend the money. The fact is the Brewers spend less than you every year and they're at the
Yeah.
top of the division. So it isn't it I know people like every time they love to use, like the Dodgers and the Yankees and everything. And the fact is the Dodgers the last time they won the World Series was in 2020 when they shortened the season in COVID years. And I
Yeah.
mean, they haven't yet. So I mean, I know people are like, and could they show it in the playoffs? And yet, who knows? But it's always been proven the money can't buy you a championship. Like
Yeah.
that's so. I mean, the Diamondbacks and the Rangers were in it last year. Like that's not an
Exactly.
excuse. That's not an excuse.
And I don't even think Cardinals fans necessarily, obviously there are some. Like there were people that were seriously thinking we were going to make a play for Otani. And I'm like, all right, y'all need to calm down. Like it's fun to talk about, but
Right.
that's not happening. I don't think they need to spend Otani money,
They
but
need
I think
development. It's player development. It literally
yes,
comes down to player development and adapting with the times in your minor league systems and
100%.
not heavily relying on sabermetrics because that overuse and over reliance on statistics is not it's just it has its place, but over relying on it as much as over relying on veteran presence can it's you
Yeah.
have to be able to evolve. You have to be able to adapt. And they're like, you needed veteran presence for all of a week on your opening week. And then when you realize there's no need for Brandon Crawford, cut him loose. And you bring up Luke and Baker and you bring up this, Sajasi. You give these young guys a chance to get in there and develop. And if they're so good in the minor league system, why are you're just having them roll around in it? You need them up, you need them adapting, you need them in the game.
Yeah.
Especially if you're falling behind for left-handed batters and Luke and Baker is crushing dingers off of left-handed pitchers. I'm sorry, left-handed pitchers. That's who you bring up. You don't need Brandon Crawford. You're not
Yeah.
playing him anyways. I understand the point of Matt Carpenter. Every time you brought him to the plate as a DH or a pinch hitter, he did come through. Like his
Yeah.
batting average, I think, is like around 250 to 240 to 260, something like that. So he is doing his job. They're not adapting. They're not
Yeah.
adapting. They're behind. They're about 10 years behind everybody else in their philosophies and stuff like that. So that
Which is what you
is
said back in February or March when you talked about Moneyball and you talked about how that is his Bible. And it's like, we're not saying completely toss it out, but rather than committing your whole philosophy and life to it,
right.
take parts of it, but then also adapt.
Right.
And it's
If
like, yeah, he is still looking at it like we're in
oh yeah.
the early to mid 2000s. And it's like,
If if colleges and some minor league systems have pitching labs and you don't, as a billion-dollar franchise, something is
Yep.
wrong.
Talk to
So,
him. It's like, come on. That's not a hot take. Or at least it shouldn't be a hot take.
I mean, that I feel like that's a little like, you know,
Duh. Like, come on now.
now with the few minutes we've got left, I know we
Yes.
could just go on and on about Cardinals. I mean, like the end of the season is coming, whether we want it or not. We've got like a few minutes left because we are logging off early because our football is on, and
Yes.
it's the Bills and the Dolphins, and who knows what'll happen. Um, got anything to say about your Into the Spider-Verse delay?
Yes, I have a lot of thoughts. I will condense them. When they said it was going to release in March of this year, I knew it wasn't going to happen. Like,
Right.
I was excited for it, but I knew that that was just a date they put on there to like tell the investors or throw it on the calendar so it's on there. I knew it was not going to happen. I expected a delay. And then it got delayed officially, the strike, and then the voice actors like, yeah, we even haven't filmed anything yet or recorded any lines yet. So I was thinking 2025. Give them however much they'd already started, and then all of 2024, and then part of 2025. Then you just didn't hear anything, and then it came out 3 or 4 days ago that they had scrapped most of the movie, and it was delayed till 2027. Now, I am of the belief for an animated, any movie, but for an animated movie that was so groundbreaking, let's keep the third one in the oven until it's done, by all means. But 2027, that hurt me a bit. And it's not like, oh, we're still working on it. When the headline is they've scrapped most of the movie, that one hit different. I was not a fan. My heart was broken because now I'm wondering about what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
The two writers, they proved they can make two good movies. So if it's an issue with
Sure.
the studio, like, hey, Sony, maybe you should just shut up and let these guys make their movie because they've proved twice now
Right.
they know what they're doing. Then people were saying that because those two guys, I think it was Phil Lord and I forget the other guy, their contracts with Sony were ending. So maybe this was Sony's way of like, and they didn't re-sign their new contract. So this was Sony's way of like flexing their muscle. But then the guy, the composer of the movies came out and said, everything you read isn't true. And then I think Phil Lord came out and said, that's not true. It is still moving along. Now, I'm great, but I'm also of the belief of where there's smoke, there's fire. So maybe he's
Something.
lying to us, or maybe he's saying some of it has been scrapped and has to be redone. I don't know. 2027 hurts, but if I
It's
can get confirmation that it is still moving forward and not starting over, like, Blade for the 10th time, I can sleep at night, but let's make it 2026. Like, I'm
right.
all for let's wait till it's done, but 2027.
Right. It feels like 2020, like so far, what is happening in 2025? Like you're not giving me House of Dragon. Like, is this just do I
We've
just
got Captain
hibernate?
America, and then
Which
we've
better
got
be
Captain
good.
America. That's it. And the new Knives Out, I think, which I love the Knives Out movies. Make a million of those. But yeah, 2025 at the moment is
Is
very bland.
barren.
Just
It's a barren
we're
wasteland.
not getting Dune in 2025, I don't think. So
Possibly, I don't think that's the one that he's making for 2020 or for December 2025, but
no, yeah, that one's like a standalone. I don't know if it's a prequel or
or
something
if it's something
happening
like
at the same
something about
time.
like it's something the other rumor was that it's completely not related and like some sort of war movie about I
On a
don't
different spiced planet, maybe.
know like something historical like some sort of like I don't want to say nuclear because I'm probably just the
Is it in
but
the
it's not.
Dune universe or is it just its own movie?
Oh, this Dennis Villanueva, from my understanding, it's either going to be the Dune movie or it's going to be something that is complete, like just an a like Oppenheimer. Like it's not even like
Gotcha.
not even a Dune type thing. So
Well, whatever it
maybe,
is, I trust him.
maybe not.
Yeah.
I mean, we hate to end on such a note
Yeah.
with the cards and Spider-Man, but I mean that's where we are right now.
Yeah.
Next week we will. What time does the
I
Penguin
was
come out?
just looking. So it is Thursday. It's the 19th, I'm pretty sure. So this day next week.
Okay, we will put out something. We will filming on Friday. We'll film
Yes,
on
I
Friday.
think
Friday.
that probably,
Friday morning ish.
well, no. No.
Oh,
I can do Friday morning.
okay.
Can't do Friday evening.
Okay,
Got a
we
wedding
do. All right, we should do something then Friday morning ish. Then
afternoon.
about the
Yeah,
Penguin while it's
I
fresh on
like
our
it.
minds. Then.
Works for
All
me.
right. Until then, we're glad we're back. Not
Yes.
too much going on, but everything's kicking into high gear now. So at least until January 2025,
Right.
where nothing happens.
We'll do one episode in January. I'm like, all right, well, we'll see you guys in 2026.
Yeah, especially if our football teams are falling apart.
Yeah.
All right, until then, bye.
We'll see ya.